So you passed your 2B license and you're ready to get a bike, your first bike. So here are a few things that I wish I knew before I got my first bike, and what you have to look out for before purchasing your new bike. Good evening everyone, and welcome to another episode of Diaries. Firstly, I want to bring your attention to this. Look at it. It's fixed and it's showing my speed now. I'm speeding and I'm not supposed to, but the point is my speedometer is fixed. How you ask me? I don't know how. I didn't bring it to the mechanic. I didn't do anything. I didn't even try to fix it myself. It just happened. I have no idea why, but I'm glad it got fixed by itself, so I can save at least $100. So anyway, today's topic, we'll be talking about when you get your first bike after you pass your license. You don't know anything, you don't know shit about bikes, or you have been searching around the forums asking should you get a second-hand bike or should you get a first-hand bike, a new bike. So I'm gonna tell you right now the considerations that you have to make and what you have to look out for when you're buying a bike. Of course, this is my own experience, and it might not be the best opinion, but you can take my advice. This is what I experienced, and this is what I felt that I would have wanted to know when I am deciding what bike to get for my first bike. So first things first, should you get a first-hand bike or a second-hand bike? The first-hand bike is definitely the best choice because you can grow your skills together with the bike. You know, it's your first bike, first-hand, and you're gonna take a lot more care of it because it belongs to you and you only. So the best choice, if you have the cash, is to get a first-hand bike. However, at the same time, I would also suggest or advise you to get a second-hand bike for your first bike, because that way you will be saving money for your next bike if you're planning to upgrade. If not, if you're gonna stay 10 years on the same bike, then get a first hand. So if you're deciding to upgrade after maybe 1 year or 2 years, then you probably should get a second-hand bike, because first things first, when you get your first bike, you are not used to the road conditions, you're not used to riding out in the open at high speeds, and you might not, if you're not driving yet, if you're not a driver yet, you will not know how do drivers behave on the roads, so you will be more prone to getting in an accident because of your inexperience. And it would definitely be a good thing it'll be a better thing if you, let's say you get into an accident or you fall off your bike on a second-hand bike rather than a first-hand bike, because you would not feel the pain as much, and it would be less expensive to repair the damage. So from my experience, my first bike was a second-hand bike. What I'm glad about getting a second-hand bike for my first bike is that I would get a lot of experience on the bike. I had a few stationary falls. My girlfriend dropped my bike when she was trying to put the side stand, and she didn't know how to. But it was a very cheap bike, and I didn't feel as bad when my bike fell as compared to if I'm driving a first-hand R15. another thing is that because it's an old bike, I got an old bike, an NSR 150 SP. There are a few problems with it that surface pretty frequently, and I have, let's say, a lot of experience learning about the parts of the bike when it fails on me. So I bring it to the workshop, and then the mechanic fixes my bike, and I take a look at how he does it and all that, the basic maintenance, the pistons and all that. If my bike didn't break down or had any problems, I wouldn't have been able to experience that myself, and this got me to be more interested in how a bike works and the components of the bike. And having that knowledge, it adds a lot of value to my knowledge on bikes and how to ride the bike, and the different kinds of bike that are in the market, different engines and all that, and how different it is, what's the pros and cons of the different kind of engines. But anyway, having an old bike with a lot of problems definitely gave me a lot more experience, especially when I crashed on it. Alright, so for getting a first-hand bike, you will definitely have no problems with it for the first few years, and you would know any conditions that it has as you ride it through the years. So the bad things about getting a second-hand bike, first thing is you wouldn't know if the seller of the bike you're getting is telling you the truth of the history of the bike. Did he get into an accident, or is the bike properly maintained? Are the parts original or local? We call it aftermarket. That's what we call it, local in Singapore. So aftermarket parts, for example, a local con rod or piston and all that, it makes quite a lot of difference, because original parts are always more durable, because the manufacturer has taken into consideration of the specs of the bike and all that, so they definitely would be better than most aftermarket parts. Especially because some riders, they are out of cash. They don't have enough funds to put an original part back into the engine when they overhaul the top of the engine or the bottom or whatever. So when they use local parts, they're usually made from China and all that, so it wouldn't last very long. So if you're getting a second-hand bike, what should you do? What should you look out for? First, I would suggest that you bring it to a workshop, find a friend that rides, and then ask him to bring the bike that you're looking at to a trusted mechanic, and pay the mechanic to do an analysis on the bike, and before that, fix the price with the dealer, with the guy you're buying it from. Okay, so ask him what problems does the bike have, and he would state down whatever problems the bike has together with the price. So, and then bring it to a mechanic and have him do a full analysis on it, and whatever problems that surfaces that he did not mention, ask him for a discount. So for example, he says that the forks are leaking, you probably can do a servicing and all that. So he said the forks are leaking and it's counted into the price. So you bring it to the mechanic, and the mechanic says that the pistons are worn off, or the piston ring needs to be replaced and all that. So you can ask the seller for a discount, and this is if you are buying from a direct seller and not from a shop. And okay, so the other kind of second-hand bikes you can buy from shops. So most shops, bike shops, they carry their own second-hand bikes, and they are usually more expensive than buying from the direct seller. But the good thing about buying from dealers, bike shops, is that they often provide installment plans and all that if you do not have the straight up cash. So usually they will want you to pay for the insurance in full, and then the rest, the whole bike is like on installments for the next 3 years or 5 years, depending on your choice. Okay, so if you have any questions about buying a second-hand bike, you can ask me, because I have bought 2 second-hand bikes, and there are things that I wish I would have known a lot earlier before I buy my bike. So another aspect of buying a bike is that you have to consider the price of your insurance. Check with NTUC income for Singapore. Check with the insurance agent or company how much is the quote for your insurance on that specific bike, because different bikes have different quotes, and usually those with fairings are more expensive to insure. So try to get a naked bike if you do not want to spend so much on insurance. So a rough estimate of insurance prices is let's say for my NSR 150, when I was 21 I think, and I just got my license, so I'm a fresh P plate. My insurance quote was 1,400, and the second year is about 700. So don't worry about the second year's insurance price, because it's gonna be cut almost half. Okay, and a few more things that I wish I knew before I started to get my first bike is you need to calculate your expenses, your future expenses, for example your installments, petrol, and if you're getting a 2-stroke bike, your 2T lubricant, and also chain lubricant, engine oil change intervals. You must take that into account to your expenses before you get a bike, because if you do not plan your expenses wisely, you would run out of cash very soon, because it might seem quite cheap to maintain a bike, but it's not actually. Every month you would expect to have an average spending of about $300 on your bike, excluding your installments. So you oil change usually about 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers intervals for 4-stroke bikes, and for 2-strokes I usually do about 8,000 kilometers before I change my engine oil, because 2-strokes don't require that often of a change, as they are using 2T oil to lubricate their pistons. And chain oil or chain lubricant, chain spray every 3 days, preferably, optimally, or once a week, or after every heavy rain. And for petrol, you need to ask around for the bike you're looking at, or maybe ask the seller what's the fuel consumption like. If you do not know, each liter of petrol in Singapore is about 195 for the cheaper petrols, and the more expensive ones are around $2 and above, $2.30 and all that. And of course you have to change your tires when it's time to change, because you do not want to run on old tires or worn out tires. It is very dangerous to ride with worn out tires, because you would definitely lose your grip when you are riding in the rain. And trust me, you would need to have good tires when you have when you get into a situation where you have to hard brake. Maintenance, basic maintenance, like maybe the brakes, brake pads, fork servicing if there's a need to, and what else? And maybe take into consideration some other accessories that you might want to add onto your bike. So if you are a passionate rider in your first year, you'll be spending more than $1,000 outside of the purchase of your bike, just on accessories alone and upgrades and all that. So I suggest that you set aside some amount of cash for that. That's what I wish I knew before I bought my bike. So if you have any other questions, feel free to drop me a comment. And yeah, just anything, man, just hit me up on the comment box and I'll be replying you very soon, as soon as I see it. And that's all for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and stay safe on the roads.